right, it's another beautiful Sunday, day number 15 in the month of December 2024. Good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority-GPHA. And our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Iron Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538 037353, 0538 037353. Now, when the time is ripe and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP. Wufilia. Huh? Wubefi. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water. Or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry during the week. Now, last week, the Ghana Institute of Trade Forwarders and the Customs Brokers Association of Ghana held their annual general meetings, one in Tema, the other in Ho. We'll bring you details pretty shortly. We also have some news on the Tema and Pakadan railway line and port security for you as well. Please enjoy.
The newly commissioned standard gauge railway line and state-of-the-art diesel multiple unit trains commissioned by President Nana Akufo-Addo last month are expected to begin operations for commuters along the Tema and Pakadan route by the end of next week, according to the Ghana Railway Development Authority. In anticipation of this, the Ministry of Railway Development, in collaboration with its agencies, hosted a media-exclusive tour of the railway line and DMU trains on Friday, November 29, 2024, offering journalists a first-hand experience of the modern facilities. The tour began at the Tema Harbour train station, where participants explored the new DMU trains designed for efficiency, comfort, and convenience. Boasting a passenger-friendly interior, the trains promise to elevate the standards of road transport in Ghana. Additionally, journalists inspected key ancillary facilities critical to the railway's operations, including maintenance and safety infrastructure. Speaking to the media, representatives from the Ghana Railway Development Authority reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding the nation's railway infrastructure, highlighting the railway's potential to support both economic growth and environmental sustainability.
The fares will be announced next week. The cards that was introduced to you will be available at all the agencies of Ghana Railway. It will be available at the Ministry of Railway and at the stations from next week. The fares will be pasted at the stations. It's not more than the vehicle fares that you take. The fares were pegged exactly at the vehicle fares. So it is not going to be any different. So expect these trains to be on the Tema and Pakadan line next week. I'm not giving a date because of certain technical challenges that we are facing. And if that is resolved by Monday, don't be surprised to see these trains on the track on Monday.
And then, of course, we're going to focus extensively on safety. The indiscipline on our part as citizens is way too much. When it comes to railways, there are lots of safety measures. We'll make sure that all those safety measures are ensured. And then also we are appealing to Ghanaians. This is a good thing for our country, regardless of our political color, regardless of our political divide. It is important that we all see to it that this train system benefits all of us and our generations to come.
The revamped shuttle service will also feature a modern, efficient tap-and-go e-ticketing system.
With your card, you can just place the conductor will just take your card, assuming you have funds on it, and just place it on the POS, and you can just take it off. So once you take it off, it prints the receipt for you. That shows the time that you got on the train and where you are going to the destination. So you can just take it right. Okay, so assuming maybe the person is not going to the final destination, but maybe might alight at Ashaiman. Okay, so once the person gets to Ashaiman, the person is alighted, the person can also now tap on the card. So the card tap on the POS. Once the person tap on the POS, it will deduct the same exact amount. It's not going to be like a fixed amount. So let's say you are going to Pom, which is 12 CD or something. So when you alight at Ashaiman with the location, it will deduct that same amount from your card, and then you get that same receipt, and then you can now alight.
During a question and answer session with the journalist, the Director for Policy Planning, Research, Monitoring and Evaluation, Alamini Sakalasan, lamented some challenges emerging along the railway route.
The state has sunk close to $480 million to build the infrastructure we're using today and we're seeing today. And no sooner had they completed than issues began to erupt. We have cases of squatters. As we drove along, we would have seen people that have breached the fences and are actually building on the embankments of the railway line. These are significant concerns for operational situations when the trains begin running on the lines. We have issues of safety and security, and these are very concerning to us as an agency of the ministry. Secondly, the tracks that we're seeing, people are now taking out, people who deal with metal scraps and others are stealing the fish plates. These are parts of the infrastructure that we need. It's part of the tracks that we need to have safe operations of the train. So it is concerning that no sooner had we finished something this big, people are back on the line stealing what the state has sunk a lot of money to build. And we would want you in the media to take this across and pass it on to the rest of us, all of us Ghanaians, to be proud of what we have and show some patriotism.
The Customs Brokers Association Ghana, QBAG, has successfully held its 2024 annual general meeting, bringing together stakeholders from various agencies, council members, the National Executive Committee, and QBAG members. This year's theme, Together Towards Tomorrow, Innovative Pathways to Success, underscored the importance of forging strong partnerships to harness the benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. It also highlighted the need for integrating risk assessment, reducing vulnerabilities, and advancing digitalization and data-driven business models. In his welcome address, the president of QBAG, Nana Frejua Jemanoforiata, revealed that the association has successfully completed the development and adoption of its own terms and conditions for accepting cargo for its corporate members.
This document, at the minimum, satisfies the tenets of an STC, but more importantly, provides a legal basis for the development of specialized insurances for our members. And out of this STC, we have successfully curated a bouquet of 7 different insurance products that will go a long way to improve services, provide security, indemnify against legal liability in the line of work, and ensure the well-being of our members.
He said, more than ever, the industry needs to adopt innovative measures to respond and adapt to disruption to supply chain and economic volatility.
In addition to the heightened geopolitical risk that we all know of, the Ukraine-Russian war and the climate-induced factors, the sector needs to address and navigate macroeconomic uncertainty, the increasingly inward-looking policies and protectionist measures, shifts in supply chain design and globalization patterns, and the new consumption and spending habits amid a growing electronic commerce.
Representing the Commissioner of Customs at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Brigadier General Bawa Zibrim Ayorogo, Deputy Commissioner Emmanuel Ohene underscored the significance of collective efforts in shaping the future of trade.
Collaboration is no longer optional. It is essential. Today's interconnected trade ecosystem requires that we move beyond siloed approaches and embrace partnerships that foster mutual benefit. For customs and brokers alike, this means upholding compliance while ensuring trade facilitation, establishing regular channels for feedback to address challenges proactively, and leveraging technology to streamline processes.
Sister freight forwarding associations were also present to share in solidarity with QBAG.
Let us continue to work together, support each other, and strive for excellence in all we do. Let us build on our strengths, learn from our weaknesses, and forge a brighter future for our industry, country, and ourselves.
The need to collaborate to achieve a collective goal, for example, in the recent shipping line demonstration. Number 2, the need to be aware of key stakeholder laws and regulations governing our activities. For example, the customs law. There's a need for us to know very much about it.
In her closing remarks, the outgoing General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Esther J.B. Donko, who represented the board chairman of GPHA, Isaac Osei, assured QBAG of GPHA's continued support.
Once again, assure you that our doors are always open. And we are also very interested in the fact that you want to look at the innovative ways. My brother from, you said AI, want to look at all these things, the modern technologies that are coming in to ensure that clearance in our ports are speedy, and that will also reduce the cost for the importers and exporters that are mutual customers.
The Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders has held its 27th annual general meeting with key discussions on the evolving role of freight forwarders in the context of global trade dynamics, particularly in relation to the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Luguje, urged freight forwarders to prioritize transparency by accurately declaring the contents of all imported cargo. According to him, such practices will foster trust between freight forwarders and customs officials, making the clearance process smoother and faster.
About 2-3 weeks ago, we were with the Commissioner General, and she says, look, well, don't compare me to another country, because my country is peculiar. Every country is unique. You loosen the belt a bit, and people will take advantage and mess up the country. And I was trying to tell her that, look, we are growing as a country and we are improving. Only for the next day, for it to be in the news, that somebody imported cargo declared as personal effects, and there were ammunitions in it. So when I read that, I said, okay, so Commissioner General was right after all. Why must you do that? Why will you do that? You should declare the contents of everything you are importing to the country, so that customs can trust you. Once customs trust you that, look, whatever you said you have in there, even if they waste their time to open it, it will be the same. If they scan it, it will be the same. Over time, they will trust you and say that, look, we can facilitate and say maybe 40 or 50% of containers will be scanned. The rest can move out, and we believe everything is correct as declared.
Michael Luguje also underscored the need for a strong partnership between freight forwarders and truck owners, stressing that only roadworthy trucks should be allowed to transport cargo to ports.
But there's an interesting part. The truck that spoiled in the scanner, that was a mechanical issue. There was another one that, the fuel was finished in the scanner. And the question is, so what happened when the driver was coming to the port to load? Please, if we don't deal with these issues, after will come, but the producer cannot produce more because he does it, and we are not able to ensure we get the facilitation that is needed to move the cargo to the marketplace.
A private legal practitioner, Dr. Emmanuel Kofi India, called for a stricter enforcement of customs sanctions to deter traders who fail to fully declare their cargo.
I think it must be impressed upon them that we need to move forward. I have done some studies, I've checked with some other places. The most important thing to do is your sanction regime. Your sanction regime. In places like Singapore, what you just spoke about, if ammunition is found in a container and it is found out that it belongs to you, the sanction regime that is applied is deterrent, and no one would dare do it again.
He urged the industry to adapt benchmarking and best practices, emphasizing that Ghana is not an island.
So you can't say that we won't benchmark against any other country because we are unique. You can't be unique in that sense. You can't. The practices of what is done in your domain are also the practices that is done in other domains. We have been to the Rotterdams, we have been to the Singapores, we have been to Houston, we've been to all the ports. And there is something that is a common thread in these places. So wherever you find a common thread, you cannot say that you are an island. You cannot.
The president of GIF, Stephen Ajokache, urged members to stay informed about both local and international regulatory changes, as well as the emerging trends of the fourth industrial revolution. He emphasized that staying ahead of these developments is essential for guiding clients through complex trade dynamics and ensuring the success of the freight forwarding industry.
As we gather to discuss the pivotal role of freight forwarders in the African continental free trade area, I am reminded of the wise words: a smooth logistics chain is like a good marriage. It's all about delivery, communication, and no surprises. Today, we'll explore how to make after a reality, not just a romantic notion.
There were some solidarity messages from stakeholders who underscore the important role freight forwarders play in the clearance chain.
As we leverage the after, we must prioritize capacity building and training for our freight forwarders by equipping them with the necessary tools and knowledge. We empower them to perform their roles more effectively, ultimately enhancing our position in the global market.
To overcome the challenges, freight forwarders must work together, share knowledge and best practices across Africa, and collaborate with other stakeholders in the logistics industry in other African countries so that we can together work and make the African trade area become more viable and resilient.
The International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, also known as ISPS Code, established by the International Maritime Organization, mandates port authorities and security stakeholders to implement robust systems for risk assessment, threat detection, and response. These measures are intended to ensure the safety of maritime trade and transport against evolving security threats. In line with this, stakeholders at Ghana's ports have demonstrated their continued commitment to upholding and enhancing security standards as prescribed by the ISPS Code. The Port of Tema last Tuesday hosted another security drill to test the interoperability of designated personnel in managing potential safety and security threats. The exercise involved lead personnel from the Health, Safety, Security, Environment and Monitoring departments of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Other participants included representatives from the Ghana Navy, Marine Police, and Meridian Port Services. Participants engaged in simulated scenarios, including a drowning incident and an unauthorized entry attempt into the port's restricted zone by local fishermen. The drill leveraged advanced surveillance systems and coordination protocols to evaluate the team's capacity to identify, respond to, and neutralize threats effectively. The harbour master at the Port of Tema, Captain Bramwell Tewia, also serves as the Port Facility Security Officer, also known as PFSO, and incident commander for the ISPS Code implementation.
Yes, now we are going to collate, now we have findings and then recommendations. So myself, being the PFSO and DPFSO, that's PSM, we are going to put our heads together, have a meeting. Probably we will include port and safety manager also to work on the findings and recommendations. That will help us to improve our port safety.
Captain Tevia emphasized the importance of continuous improvement.
So these are the gaps we are going to work on. If there's an emergency, crowd control, how to raise alarm to get the person quickly out of that danger. Yes, and then education also. From the first scenario, they should have halted the operation. There's something, somebody is dying, and then you are discharging fish. No, we all have to be part. Raise an alarm, whatever help you can quickly render, or assistant, you can quickly render to save the person. Yes, but they were working because there wasn't any good supervision.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry during the week. It's now time for us to take a look at the word or phrase of the day. And remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. Today's phrase is set point. Set point.
Set point.
Set point refers to specific temperature that a refrigerated container has been said to keep. Ideally, the set point and the actual temperature should be identical throughout the voyage.
All right, welcome back. So tonight we are zooming into a discussion proper tonight, and tonight we are exploring Ghana's fisheries sector through the lens of a fisheries expert. And this sector is bedeviled with a lot of challenges. What usually comes to mind promptly is IUU, illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. There are also issues related to environmental degradation, governance gaps, and so on and so forth. And a lot of effort has gone into it by both government and private sector and players in the industry to try and mitigate some of these situations. But how far have we come as a country in our quest to bring about some element of sustainability as far as our fisheries culture or fisheries sector is concerned? So tonight we happened to chance upon a fisheries expert who recently outdoored a book, and it's called Bits and Pieces. This man has worked with the Fisheries Commission for some time, for a very long time. I would just want to be a bit specific. In fact, he's been a fisheries regional monitoring, control, and surveillance expert for the Fisheries Committee for West and Central Gulf of Guinea. He's worked as regional director for the Fisheries Commission in Takoradi. He's also worked as director monitoring, control, and surveillance at the Fisheries Commission. And he's also worked at some point at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, that's FAO, as Assistant Programs Officer. It goes on and on and on, and so it gives me pleasure this evening, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to us our guest in the person of Mr. Godfred Beidu Tibu, who is a fisheries monitoring, control, and surveillance expert. Good evening, sir, and welcome to Iron Port.
Good evening. Good evening to
our viewers. Absolutely. Great. All right.
Thank you for inviting me to this auspicious program.
Thank you, sir.
Iron Port.
Thank you, Mr. Beidu Tibu. First of all, tell us about Bits and Pieces. What was the motivation that got you? What inspired you to write about the fisheries sector in Bits and Pieces?
Okay. Yeah, as you have indicated, I've worked in the sector since 1989. That is quite some time.
Right. So this is your camera. The light is on. So you look into it while you speak. Yes, please.
Right. So what I was doing whilst I was working was to document some of the important things that were happening day to day. When it becomes necessary, I would get them published in the newspapers, or recently when we have, how do you call it? I will publish online.
Right.
So this is what I have been doing, and I've done so many articles on fisheries, on the environment, governance, some politics, economics, as and when it becomes necessary. And when I retired, I decided that why don't I put together all these articles?
Right.
Yeah, I know when people read them, they found them interesting. So I decided that I'll put them together in a book. So Bits and Pieces tells us that this is coming from various topics.
Right.
It's not just one thing that I'm talking about. And then in the fisheries sector, Bits and Pieces, as you have already indicated, we now have a decline as far as fisheries is concerned.
Right.
So Bits and Pieces, instead of having whole fish, now it looks like we have fish, bits and pieces. And that is why we need to take a good look at how best we can restore our fisheries sector, such that it becomes, useful to the economy. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm sure in the course of your work, you would have at some point observed the fact that we're having declining species, and that's how come you drew the conclusion that we are not having the fishes whole now, but in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so bits and pieces, I'm right to say, is a compendium of the articles that you put together in your working career in the fisheries sector.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so some of the topics are in the abundance of water, which talks about water and how we use water and how we have also abused, water.
Right.
You find even a topic on child trafficking in the fishery sector.
Right.
Tossed between fishing communities. I have a chapter, is it shark or dynamite? This was a situation I encountered whilst I was regional director in Takoradi,
Western region,
where somebody got wounded, when he was using dynamite to fish.
Wow.
He got to the hospital, and then he told the doctors that he had been, attacked by a shark. It's a very serious thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very serious, because he was seriously wounded.
Yes.
He had lost a hand, etc.
Wow.
So I picked it up, and I felt I should let people know what is happening.
Absolutely.
Psycho, we have all, talked about psycho for about so many years.
Yes.
Currently, the Ministry of Fisheries has tried to put a stop to it.
Yes.
But when I was a fisheries officer, it was a very hot topic.
Right.
So you find two topics on, three topics even on psycho. Psycho is sacrilege, and then site, selling our fishing rights. And then the last one is don't bring psycho back.
Right.
Don't bring it back.
Right.
Because it was detrimental as far as the fisheries sector, was concerned.
Right.
Ghana went into, a yellow card.
Yes.
2013.
Yes.
And that was when I got to the Monitoring, Control and Surveillance Division. And it was tough for us. I remember at that time, somebody in the port, told me that it had even affected, trade.
Right. Import and exports.
Import and export. So that was the extent to which,
the economy was ravaged
could go.
Yeah.
So I've written about it.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that, as we speak, Ghana has a second yellow card, which it is grappling, with.
We have one at the moment.
At the moment,
I thought
since
they had
2020,
withdrawn it. Okay.
Since 2021. The first one was 2013 to 2015. Then we had the green restored. But currently there is one from 2021 which is still, work is still ongoing as far as, to get Ghana.
What do we need to do to get out of this as a country?
Yeah, fisheries is not only domestic, it's international. So you must meet international obligations. Your own laws, you must meet them.
Right.
Yeah. So when you are not meeting them, it affects your status internationally.
Right. Yes.
And, according to UNCLOS, the fish in your water belongs to everybody.
Yes.
So anybody can take action. And this is what the EU has been doing, the European Commission has been doing.
Yeah.
They have been sanctioning countries, especially those that they trade with, when they fall foul of their own law and that of international.
Yes.
So that is how we have got the yellow cards. And to come out of it, it means that there are a set of measures that you have to meet.
Right.
Yeah, there's a set of measures. The first one, we had to review our laws. So quickly we had to do an amendment to the Fisheries Act. We had the Act 880, and then we also had the LI 2217,
right.
which was a regulation, amendment regulation. There were a few things that we did to get us out of the yellow card at that time.
Yes.
I think currently what they are looking at is to review the entire fisheries law.
Right.
And that is still being done. I think it has progressed considerably.
Yeah.
So that is being done, and I hope that when that is finished, I believe that the grain will be restored, back to Ghana.
Right. So do we foresee us having a grain in a short term, or you think that it might take some time, given the fact that we received it in 2021, if I got you right?
Yeah, it depends on how serious the country takes it.
Right.
The first one, it took 2 years
to be able to ameliorate it,
and then
the situation
it was resolved.
Yes.
But this one since 2021, so we are entering perhaps the fourth year.
Yeah.
And Ghana is not the only country that has gone under a yellow card.
Yeah.
There are, I've seen recently even Senegal.
Okay.
Liberia is under a yellow card, and I think Cameroon is also under a yellow card. And you may end up with a red if you are not able to do.
So under red, what's the situation like?
No, the yellow is a warning, just like yellow card in football.
Yes.
It's a warning, and when you are warned, it means you have to play,
very
cautiously.
carefully,
Very
absolutely,
cautiously.
yes.
Yeah. So when you have a yellow card in fisheries, it means that you have to be cautious the way you go about, your fisheries.
Yes.
There are a few things that you have to do, and if you do them, you can easily come out of it.
You're right.
But if that delays, for too long, it means that, and then you continue to even exacerbate the
practice,
issues,
sure.
then, I mean, a red card will be, issued, and that means that, you cannot trade.
Right. You can't export.
Trade. Even, you cannot export at all. Now, when you are exporting, there's a lot of scrutiny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scrutiny. But when you have a red, it means that it affects your trade, seriously.
Right.
And you may not be able to trade at all with EU as far as fish is concerned.
Right.
And a country like Ghana, which does a lot of tuna export, for instance.
Yes.
When we get there, that will not be too good
for us.
For us. It will affect, jobs. It will affect
absolutely
a whole lot of things.
So that brings me to my next question, which has to do with how significant the fishery sector is to the Ghanaian economy. You just mentioned jobs.
Yeah.
We talked about exports.
Ghana is...
And that also means that we would have some foreign, exchange.
Yeah, Ghana traditionally is a fishing country. We've been fishing for over 400 years.
Right.
And it is interesting to note that, along the West African coast, even as far as Angola, you find Ghanaian fishing communities, which have established for so many years, for so many years. So Ghana traditionally is a fishing, nation.
Right.
And for that matter, you have a lot of people engaged in the sector.
Right.
What we say is that about 10% of the population, 10% of the population, now we are about 330 plus million. So now you are talking about 3 million people who directly or indirectly, extract their livelihoods from, the sector. So jobs and then incomes, because fishermen go fishing, they bring fish to sell, fishmongers buy the fish, they turn, into various products.
Yes.
People buy fresh fish and export. These are jobs. There are other ancillary jobs like those who are building the boats, those who are, repairing, machines, those who are, selling nets.
Yeah.
It's a very big,
chain,
big, industry.
Yeah.
And when you take fish, Ghanaians also like fish.
Yeah.
I think we eat fish above the average
Yeah.
per capita
Right.
as far as FAOs is concerned.
Concerned.
So we eat a lot of fish from the coast to the hinterland.
Do you have any statistics on that to inform us?
I think Ghana is about 20 to 25 kg per capita.
Per capita.
And that is above the 14 kg as far as FAO statistics are concerned.
Right.
So, you know, nutritionally we benefit from fish, economically we benefit from fish, and culturally, you know, many coastal communities have their homo war and all those, you know, tied, you know, to fisheries.
Yes.
So it is very important. It is part and parcel, you know, of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So it is something that we cannot, you know, joke with it.
Absolutely.
I mean, we need to work very hard,
Yeah.
you know, to protect, you know, the resource.
Absolutely.
And all of us, including consumers of fish, we must, you know, take interest that we need to protect, you know, the resource because 10% of the population depend on it.
Wow.
Then all of us also eat the fish. So that is something that we need to, you know, seriously protect.
Yes. All right. So you mentioned one issue in your preamble that has to do with child trafficking. One of the articles that you published. How rife is it at the moment?
Yeah, it has existed. Maybe as far as we have had fisheries. And what happens is that you find it more in the inland.
Right.
On the Volta Lake, for instance. And, you know, fish is seasonal.
Yes.
So when it is out of season in the marine, you find fishermen moving into the inland.
Yes.
And in the inland, the dynamics are different. You know, on the Volta Lake, we have trees in the water.
Yes.
Because
the trumps.
In forming the lake, you know, there were forests. And then the forests were inundated.
Yes.
You know, so there are trees, stumps still standing in the lake. So when fishermen go fishing and throw their nets, they get entangled. And when they get entangled, it requires that, you know, somebody goes down there in the water to, you know, to free the nets. And they find children, you know, suitable, more suitable. So there's a need for children.
Is it because of their weight or size?
Their size. So being fishermen children, they know swimming, they know diving to some extent. And now they are trafficked to somebody there. Maybe they are paid for, and there is evidence of that.
Right.
And, you know, these children work in fisheries. And when they do that, it means they don't go to school, they don't eat well. You know, their future, I mean, is jeopardized. So it is something that we need to understand properly and, you know, make the effort to stop it.
Right.
Yeah, to stop it.
Right. So, so in the fisheries sector, are we able to draw a dichotomy between child labor and, you know, child trafficking? What's the difference?
Yeah, child trafficking means you are moving somebody maybe against their will.
Right.
Against their will.
Their will, yeah.
And these are children, they are not yet up to when they should be employed.
Yes.
Now they get there, and now they cannot even negotiate anything.
Absolutely.
They just get there, and they say, oh, this is the man you are going to work with.
Yeah.
And the man takes the person.
Because the parents have taken the money already.
And that is taking the money already.
Guardian, so to speak,
and that is it. So that is against the children's
rights, fundamental
rights and will. And on top of that, they are denied education.
Yes.
They are denied health. You know, these are remote places along the lake.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you are sick, it depends.
Yeah.
If you get well, fine. If you don't get well, and I think there has been, you know, situations where when these children dive and they get, I mean, they drown.
Yes.
Sometimes they may not even
Find them, retrieve the bodies.
make the attempt, you know,
to retrieve
them.
Yeah.
So this is something that has gone on for some time, and requires that, you know, we understand it and we take a good look at it.
How does this phenomenon affect the general industry in terms of our trade? I know that's one of the issues that the European Union and other international organizations look at. That if you are involved in child trafficking or child labor in your sector, you are not allowed to do business. I mean, you are warned, and sanctions are brought up against you.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes I think that it shouldn't even take somebody from outside. It should be ourselves. It should be ourselves. I mean, how do you want to treat your own child? You know, so if you are eating fish, now you begin to think, how was this fish caught?
Absolutely.
And then when we begin to trace, you find that sometimes, you know, the fish was caught illegally, and it is also tainted with, you know, these human rights abuses, child labor, and things like that. So we must begin to, you know, assess. You know, we should not just, oh, this is good fish, you eat it and you just eat it. We must begin to understand how the fish was caught, how the fish, and these illegalities, you know, not only affecting humans, but affecting the fish also.
Absolutely.
Affecting the fish also. In the artisanal, in the canoe fishery, in the semi-industrial fishery, you find the use of, you know, small mesh nets. You find the use of explosives, chemicals, you know, to fish. So when you are eating fish, you know, perhaps you need to understand where that fish is coming from. How was the fish caught? You know, if it was caught with chemicals, explosives, I've explained how a fisherman, you know, got,
Dynamite,
you know, maimed.
I'll come back to that.
Yeah, you know, you must begin to understand that, yes, when I'm enjoying the fish, then